Hi everyone. Um, this is not something that I would usually do, but um, I've been thinking about sharing a part of my journey with some people that may need it. I am aware that there are some people struggling on my Facebook friends list, um, and just wanted to give some insight to my journey. Some of you may get something from it. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to share it. And so, most of you would know from some of my posts that I'm a recovering addict and alcoholic, if you didn't already know that from seeing me in that way. Um, yeah, started using drugs when I was 14. Started hanging around with some kids that were doing the drugs, and then I was, I had no self esteem and real low, and I was always quite isolated. I'd isolate myself, and dropped out of school quite young, and was easily led. Yep, I was led, and I thought that doing the drugs would give me friends because I felt so alone. Like I felt like that if I did that, then I would be accepted. That I'd have friends. So for the years in my teens, it was drugs, weed, alcohol. Then I lost a friend in my early 20s, and um, that that set off me to be worse. I went on a downward spiral, and got quite heavily into ecstasy because I couldn't deal with my feelings being clean and sober. I didn't know how to. Um, I felt oblivious to what I was doing, really. Like I didn't understand exactly what I was doing. I just knew that sometimes they made me feel good, the drugs and the alcohol, and sometimes they made me feel really, really bad. So it was like 20s, party, party, party. Um, and I didn't really know any different. Like, people would stop drinking or taking drugs, and I would probably be the one that was wanted to keep going, and or I'd be, insane and saying things that I didn't mean. I didn't know how to deal with my feelings. I didn't know how to respect other people's feelings. Like, I just knew that was my way of life. And, you know, patterns that were out of my control were set up for me quite young, being around people that were drinking. It was, funny, whatever. Like, that was just sort of the way that I saw people live. And it was my choice quite young to do this stuff. And I can own that today. Um, but it was easier to follow once it was around me, once the drugs and there was alcohol everywhere, or whatever else. It was like, well, this is how I know how to be, and this is what I'll do. Um, the drug that brought me to my knees was methamphetamine, and I remember hating the drug. I hated the drug. I saw what it was doing to my friends. I saw it almost destroy one of my friends' relationships. And I was already using speed and alcohol quite regularly, and you know, I had this drug and I was like, it's not doing anything. I don't know why people do this. And didn't realise that it had already gotten me. Like over the first year that I was using ice, I guess there was a lot of times where I thought it was quite fun. And it gave me a euphoric feeling of not feeling anything more than what all the other drugs did. It just had this most insane power over me, and it really got a grip on me. And it took me another 2 years before I hit a real rock bottom. You know, I'd lost everything that I owned, and some pretty toxic relationships ended. You know, I didn't have anywhere to go. Like, I kept wanting to get clean. Like, I remember every 5 days I would use again. I'd last 5 days, or I'd be able to detox in a bed for 5 days. You know, the amount of hours I've spent in beds feeling horrible and not wanting to live, you know, is a lot of life wasted. So I ended up in psychosis, and today I can understand why, you know, what built up to me being the way I was and choosing drugs. You know, it took me 2 painful losses with my son. You know, the first time I tried to get myself into detox, out of psychosis, jumped into 12-step program, tried to do it in the community, but it wasn't long enough, you know. I managed to get about 6 months up, and then I relapsed. And then once I relapsed, I needed to get more honest with myself and say, you know, I can't do this. I don't want to be this person. I need to change. And it was heartbreaking, and it was the most painful experience that I've ever had to go through. Like, you know, I needed a good year to work on myself, and I did that. You know, I took 6 months in rehab, and then kept pushing through the therapy, you know, massive support services, engaging with them. You know, and coming through recovery, I then experienced my full effects of my post-traumatic stress disorder and all of the things that I blocked out over the years when I was using and drinking. You know, like domestic violence, you know, abuse, and all of the categories that fall below that, you know, shaped me into the person that I was when I was using and drinking for a long time. I'm not proud of who that person was, you know. I destroyed a lot of relationships. I destroyed, you know, friendships. Because I didn't know how to care about people, and I didn't know how to be a good person. I didn't know what values meant. Like, I didn't know what compassion felt like. I didn't know what empathy felt like. I didn't know what sadness felt like. You know, I only had these massive extreme highs and lows, and they weren't naturally felt. I know some people will never forgive me. And that's okay. And I totally understand that. But I have managed to repair a lot of my relationships, and my family relationships are the ones that have counted and have gotten me to where I'm at today. But they needed repairing. Like, I had to do some solid work on getting trust back, and you know, they needed to see that. Um, you know, today I'm so grateful for what I have. You know, I'm grateful that I have the ability to be a mum. I'm grateful that I have my son. I'm grateful that I can make the choices that I need to make today, no matter how hard they are, and I can make them a lot easier than what I didn't know how to actually make a choice for myself in the past. You know, I'm just sort of raising awareness because there is help, you know, and I know I've seen people struggling on and off, you know, and it's such a hard thing to break free from drugs or alcohol. You know, not wanting to deal with how you're feeling, because that is the quickest way to escape from that. But it's also a very painful way, and I'm just sort of thought I'd raise awareness around it, you know, like it's all mental health underlying it, and there is help out there, like there is, you know. I'd just like to thank whoever's actually going to watch this, and I hope that someone gets something out of it to help maybe their journey, or even to maybe inspire someone for where they may be at. Thank you.